Today I want to talk about infertility and how it shaped how I view life itself. This drawing, like my last drawing in my last video, is inspired by the lemon tree outside of our home. And every day I would walk by this lemon tree and notice how some of the lemons fully ripen and they look round, not too big, not too small, definitely edible, and how some of the other lemons would have a little bit of a different shape. Sometimes it grow like a long part of the lemon versus being more rounded. It would be a little bit more oblong. Some of the lemons didn't really make it, and they would, grow a little bit and then fall off. And as I was going through the beginning of IVF, I would look to this tree and remind myself that, not every egg and not every embryo will sustain human life. And it gave me a lot of peace going through that process and seeing that tree every day that I would walk out of the house to go to an appointment and then come back home from it. So this tree has been really inspiring to me through that fertility journey, and then also through pregnancy. I had a higher risk pregnancy for preterm labor. So again, every time looking at that tree, just kind of reminding myself that life kind of figures itself out on its own, even if it's not the answer that we're looking for. And even now that we've given birth and we have our daughter, I still look to this tree a lot for inspiration. So not only does this tree have that story for me, I also really love the forms that it makes. Again, I feel like a lot of times, especially on social media, we're adding filters to our faces, we're editing ourselves, we're, doing our hair a certain way, dressing a certain way to present ourselves to, hundreds or thousands or maybe even millions of folks online. And this tree just reminds me that I don't have to be perfect. The forms in my artwork don't have to be perfect. It's okay that they look a little bit youthful or juvenile or a little bit naive. And that's actually what I'm looking for when I'm making artwork. I really want it to feel raw versus polished. I want it to feel that it's not edited or not refined, and it's more of an exact interpretation of how I'm feeling at that given moment. So you'll see in a lot of my more recent work, and in this sketch in particular, that the lemon or round or oblong forms tend to start to appear. I think it's definitely a repetition in my work, as the theme of imperfection and what that looks like in life is something that's incredibly important to me. Now, when it comes to color, that's also pretty intuitive as well. I try to go with what feels right versus what looks right. Having gone to school for design and art, sometimes we're taught to do what looks right or what might be the most appealing to the viewer. I'm really trying to unlearn that. I want to make something that feels more organic to how I'm feeling. And if I'm feeling not that great that day, or a little bit off, or in this case, a little bit tired, I want that to come through in the color palette in addition to the forms. So even though the forms are very loose and organic and a little bit imperfect, I want the color palette to be like that too. I don't want to overanalyze the colors that I'm using, and I want the entire piece itself to just be a reflection visually of how I'm feeling. Now, with that said, other people may look at this piece and see something different, and that's what I find beautiful about abstract art. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to understand where I'm coming from as I'm making it, but to take the time to reflect and see how you feel while looking at it, that's the most important part. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch me make this sketch. Let me know if you'd like me to draw anything in specific or speak on anything in specific, and I will see you in the next video.